What's up, Couch fam? We're concentrating on DraftKings Week 8 GPPs, looking at high-risk picks, high upside picks, contrarian picks, and identifying chalk. Let's go on to the DraftKings picks for Week 8. We're concentrating on the main slate as well. Lots of good quarterbacks to pick from. I'm going to choose two contrarian picks, two quarterbacks that get memed, that get made fun of, that don't have a high confidence level amongst us fantasy enthusiasts and NFL enthusiasts. I'm not saying that I love these quarterbacks and they're going to score the highest, but I think these two just might crush it and help you reach to the top because nobody's going to be picking them. Especially this first one, if we're going from most expensive to least expensive. That's going to be Jameis Winston, priced at $6,000. The price is good, but not great. The price is decent. He doesn't have a lot of pass attempts. He doesn't have a lot of passing yards. So we're going to be very touchdown dependent. If there was one game, other than that week 1 game against the Packers, if there was one game where he can absolutely explode and help us win and take down a GPP, it's going to be this game. Bucks pass defense is bad. How you want to attack them is by throwing to the to your wide receivers, attack their corners, and maybe throw to your tight ends. Now, Alvin Kamara is great and everything, and he can catch passes, which should help Jameis. But really, he's going to need to throw touchdowns to wide receivers and tight ends to get this. I know the chances of that happening are low, but I think it's worth having at least one lineup with this guy in it. By the way, priced at $6,000, going against the Bucks in a revenge game. Okay, the next pick is going to be a little bit more obvious because the price is actually incredible. The matchup is actually obviously perfect, incredible. And so this one's a much more obvious choice. The ownership still won't be high because Sam Darnold gets made fun of a lot. He gets memed, and he's been atrocious like the last 3 games. So first 4 games, amazing. Averaging, what is that? Like nearly 30 points a game he's averaging the first 4 games. That's insane. That's QB1 territory here. I remember people are like, is this Lamar Jackson? He's great. I think he scored 2 rushing touchdowns. That was week 4. That's pretty incredible. No. Where was that? Yeah, week 4 with 2 rushing touchdowns. Week 3, 2 rushing touchdowns. Week 1, 1 rushing touchdown. Then all those rushing touchdowns stopped. Anyway, first 4 games, amazing. Last 3 games, atrocious. So much that he even got benched for a short amount of time for PJ Washington, the backup quarterback for the Panthers. But like I said, price is right. Matchup's incredible. Everything lines up except that he's been atrocious lately. He's thinking, oh, is this guy the future? Is this guy even the real quarterback for the Panthers? Lots of question marks and lots of doubt, and that's why we're able to get him cheap. Usually you don't get a pretty good quarterback, or hopefully a good quarterback, at least this week, going against a terrible defense, good game script, good price. Usually don't get that with this kind of upside. And so this one, much more obvious pick. I have a lot more confidence in this pick than the Winston pick, but that's why Jameis Winston is going to be so contrarian that if he's able to pull it off, we'll go straight to the top. And by the way, if Jameis just outscores Darnold by a little bit, he's only $400 more expensive. So if Jameis outscores Darnold just a little bit, that should be good enough for us to win. I'm thinking 3 fantasy points. If he gets at least 1 more touchdown than Darnold, that could be enough for us to go straight to the top of the ladder, of the GPP ladder. The big problem with Jameis Winston, I don't know who to stack him with. I'm thinking Traquan Smith because he's so cheap. You could go with Callaway. That's another really good one. It's a problem. Who do I stack him with? It's not obvious at all. yeah, I guess either Callaway or Traquan Smith would be the top two options you stack him with. With Darnold, it's much easier, and we're going to talk about those guys in the wide receivers. Much more easier choices that I absolutely love for Sam Darnold. Also, just wanted to mention for those that don't play the main slate, we do have Cooper Rush, who's going to be minimum price. There's a chance that Dak Prescott does not play for Sunday Night Football. Cooper Rush is minimum priced at $4,000. Could be a good punt, or you can see him as a good value pick, however you want to label that. For running backs, not going to go over the super elite, obvious, expensive options, but I do have one just under that tier who I do believe is an elite option without paying that elite price tag. That's Nick Chubb, $6,800, going against the Browns. First game back from injury. Going against the Browns, going against the Steelers, going against a decent defense, or so it seems. Yeah, defense is okay. First game back. Yada, yada, yada. I'm going all in. I'm thinking this guy's going to be a top 3 fantasy running back this week. And he doesn't have the top 3 price tag, right? So he's what? More than $1,000 cheaper than the top guys. $2,000 cheaper than Kamara and Derrick Henry. So just a huge discount. Absolutely love him. He will not be contrarian, but maybe we see 1 or 2% less ownership just because it's his first game back. That's how it is. Has he been balling the last week, the last 2 weeks? Well, technically no, because he's been out. Therefore, ownership goes down, just the way it works. People are very recency bias is magnified when we're talking about DFS. It's just the way it goes. By the way, guys, if you're new to this channel, for the best live streams, for the best waiver wire videos, best DFS content, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you had the bell notification turned on so you don't miss future videos and live streams. Enough of that. Enough of that promotion. Okay, guys. So another guy I don't love, but I do like is Darrell Henderson. So this is a decent pick, decent price, excellent matchup in game script, 6,500. We're about to go over the Rams defense, the elite option. They're very expensive, but you can sort of correlates with the running back, right? The defense does well, team has the lead, team runs the ball in the fourth quarter. That could be Darrell Henderson. So if you don't want to spend up on the Rams D, maybe you do somewhat similar of a pick and just go with their number 1 running back going against the Texans. Darrell Henderson, 6,500, playing in Houston. And now we're moving on to the cheap plays. And I really like this. This is what I'm really excited about here. Because, you guys can figure out the really good running backs that cost a lot. I think my help is going to come up to, okay, how can I get some salary relief? Where can I find that super sleeper, that contrarian pick, right? That's where hopefully I come in and help. By the way, guys, last week we absolutely crushed it. I know it was the most pissed off I've ever been in fantasy. That was just because of Taylor Heineke and the Washington football team. And but I still won. I won cash. I was in the green, net profit, and won yesterday too in the showdown. If you want to check out the other YouTube channel where we did the podcast, hit a perfect lineup last night in the showdown. So could celebrate that. GPP, baby, all the way. Enough digressing. Michael Carter. So if you do want a poor man's DeAndre Swift, and you don't want to pay a DeAndre Swift price, it's going to be Michael Carter. Look at this, guys. 14 fantasy points week 5. I believe they were on bye week 6. 17 fantasy points week 7. So, I mean, it's looking pretty good, right? 3 targets week 5, 9 targets week 7. They should be throwing the ball. Not throwing it anywhere good, but checking it down. Lots of garbage time. Look, if DeAndre Swift can do it, why not my guy Michael Carter? And at 4,900, he's going to be contrarian. He's going to get the ball. He's going up against a decent defense, but not the best. Excuse me. So we're checking off everything here for a GPP pick, right? Literally everything. The price is incredible, but there's a couple other guys who, or at least one other guy who I think people would want to pick more. Because no one's talking about Michael Carter. Jets are in a mass depression right now. No one's talking about Michael Carter. He's not trending. Nothing. Low ownership, great price, great game script. He's going to get targets. He's going to get snaps. He's going to get carries. Probably not more than 10, 11 carries, but he'll get his carries. And also Tevin Coleman, yet again, out. Again, Michael Carter, most talented running back on that team. And the reason why he's going to be so contrarian, other than he's just not a hot name right now, people don't talk about him, is because if you go to Twitter, there is a guy trending, and his name is David Johnson. After this Mark Ingram trade, everyone's talking about David Johnson. Everyone's picking him up on Sleeper and regular redraft formats, and Dynasty's probably owned in a lot of leagues, but everyone's adding him in their regular season-long leagues. Everyone's talking about him on Twitter. Price is even better, right? We're seeing probably a little bit better value than Michael Carter, just slightly, though. Just slightly better value. And this is going to be a chalky play. This is salary relief, and just everyone's talking about him. Remember, this was the number 1 overall pick in redraft just, 4 years ago or something? 5 years, something like that. And there he is, man. He's going to be chalky. Not saying don't pick him, but at least identify the chalk. I love the Michael Carter pivot move. All right, people's going to be like, oh, this guy's $700 cheaper. He's better, quote unquote. Well, we'll see how he does. Touchdowns are not in the foreseeable future for too many Texans players. It's just unfortunate truth. And the Rams just played the Lions, where we saw a lot of garbage plays, a lot of screens to DeAndre Swift. They just played. And even though the Rams whooped the Lions, frankly, it was embarrassing. Like, you can't stop a screen pass? Like, what are you guys doing? And that's where David Johnson's stats are going to come from. Look, I never know what's going to happen. All I know is to pick guys with some upside that are contrarian and hope we get to the top. Like, no one's ever going to know, what's going to happen every single week. So even though I'm making arguments against David Johnson, it's just like, hey, a lot of people are going to pick him. We're not. Like, that's just what I'm trying to say. Maybe he balls out. I don't see it. Like, I really don't see it. I think the Rams, all they got to do is stop Brandon Cooks. All they got to do is stop any weird, DeAndre Swift type plays that they saw last week. Boom. Should be an easy blowout win for the Rams. Poor Texans. That's scary. Imagine if you were the Texans right now. You're on that team going against the Rams. That's not good. You're going to be mentally and physically whooped after that game. And there's one more punt that I have, and I know everyone's going to hate me for this already. If you haven't hated me so far, you'll hate me for this one. Again, it's going to be Sony Michel at 4,000, and we were just talking about this game like 2 times already, several times already. If you think the Rams are going to have a big lead, if you think the Rams defense is good, and if you think Darrell Henderson is good, Hendo, then you may want to consider Sony Michel. Look, it's been pretty disappointing. He hasn't done much, but if this is truly a blowout from quarter 1, quarter 2, it would be very smart to preserve Darrell Henderson and put Sony Michel in the second half. Now, the problem really is, and I do truly believe this will happen when I'm telling you this game script is going to happen and Sony Michel is going to take over and become the running back. The big problem is it's probably going to be in the fourth quarter, and it probably won't be enough. But who cares? If you get a touchdown, or I'm off just a little bit and they have a huge, they're up 3-4 touchdowns by halftime, Sony Michel could come in there a little earlier. He needs to score a touchdown. Maybe he scores 2 somehow. And we're talking about the best, all of a sudden, right? Just like that. We're talking about the best value running back on DraftKings here. Minimum priced, 4,000, decent running back, great game script, great matchup, contrarian. He won't be chalk. I'll tell you that for sure. He won't be chalk. Might not necessarily be contrarian. I think this is a punt play that some people will come to this conclusion, just like I did. I'm a smart guy, but I'm no genius. I've came to this conclusion. I've derived to this pick. Others will as well. Just won't be super chalky or anything like that. So I do love this pick. With this analysis, I've convinced myself a lot more to go Sony Michel this week. I'm starting to gain some confidence in that pick. Hey, you know what? I presented some good arguments to pick Sony Michel. I really believe that. I believe myself. All right, guys. For wide receivers, DJ Moore right here. Love this as a stack. He's going to be a bit expensive. Not too many people will be picking him. A little too expensive for my taste as well. But if you're going with multiple Sam Darnold lineups, I think you got to stack him with DJ Moore at least once. And we'll just skip ahead. And the other guy to stack him with, which I absolutely love, is going to be Robbie Anderson. Now, just like Sam Darnold, has been pretty disappointing, right? Great price, great matchup, big play threat. So I do love Robbie Anderson at 4,700. So, stacking Darnold is an easy task if you're going to go with Darnold. But the second most expensive guy I got on my list is Chris Godwin, right? Mike Evans last week, incredible. So let's just pivot and go Chris Godwin this week. Let's go with the other wide receiver. And Chris Godwin never really balled out this year. Week 7 balled out, week 1 balled out. I don't know if he was ever the best Bucs wide receiver. Was Antonio Brown better week 1? I don't know. Yeah, I don't think Godwin was ever the best Bucs wide receiver on a given week. Maybe week 1. Let's look that up. That's 27 points. I think Antonio Brown beat him out. I know he was the talk. Let's see. Yeah, so I guess Godwin was the best wide receiver week 1, barely. But you get what I'm saying. It's either Antonio Brown or Evans, or people talking about Gronk. So I think you can kind of sneak in Godwin here. Just not super hyped up. He's not contrarian by any means. Don't. I did not say that. So Chris Godwin, I like 6,400 going against the Saints. We keep talking about a lot of the same games here. And this is my last time. We're going with, did I say this last week? I don't know, but I'm going with him again. Devontae Smith. Well, he didn't, it wasn't good. He did disappoint with 11.1, but it wasn't all loss. He got double-digit points. He got 9 targets. And I know Jalen Hurts is inaccurate and can't hit the deep ball, but he's got at 1 point, right, in the season, even if he actually does suck. And I'm going to roll with Devontae Smith again. I think he's okay. And that's the reason. If you're like, dude, stop. This is not good. Stop with this Devontae Smith crap. I think that's all the more reason to pick him. That means he's going to be contrarian if everyone is thinking that. So it's somebody to consider. I don't love it either, all right? But I think he's going to be contrarian. Cole Beasley, 4,900 with Dawson Knox breaking his hand. Cole Beasley has the matchup here going against the Dolphins, right? He's going to line up in the slot. He's going to get a lot of targets, and we're going to need him to get in the end zone. And I think the Bills will move the ball swiftly, easily this game. No doubt about it. I think they'll go to the red zone plenty of times. They'll go to the goal line plenty of times. We could see 5 or 6 touchdowns for the Bills. And boom, Cole Beasley, 4,900. That's going to be great value. He's going to need those targets, though. And I think without Knox, he will get those targets. And as far as being contrarian, he will be on kind of the contrarian side. No high ownership for him. We already went over Robbie Anderson. He's 4,700 going against the Falcons. Traquan Smith's not really a guy I wanted to highlight, but since I did talk about him, and I don't know how there we go. 3,900. If you're stacking him with Winston, I get that. I don't really like any of the Saints wide receivers. But if you pick Winston, it's probably a good idea to stack him. All his stack options, all his receivers are priced fairly low. So it kind of makes sense to pick one, whether it be Callaway or Traquan, or if you dare to go with a Saints tight end. I don't think I dare. Josh Reynolds is going to be the minimum priced guy of the week. So Julio Jones is out, and Josh Reynolds, we can never predict who the number 2 or number 3 wide receiver is for the tight ends. Okay, stop honking your horn. I think it's going to be Josh Reynolds, though. Minimum priced, 3,000. We saw him get 3 catches, 3 targets last week. Let's see how he does without Julio. We know you can attack the Colts. We know he can attack their corners. And, yeah, I mean, this is nothing more than a pure punt play. But as you can see, there's really not a lot of options here. I got Van Jefferson written down. Like, I like him. He's definitely a good option. I recommended him last week. He did well. Deshaun Jackson is out. I just don't think it's like super contrarian. Like we were on him last week. So we kind of got on the trend before. Not saying like Van Jefferson sucks this week. Great pick this week. But we got on the trend before. And that's what you want to do is you want to try to hop on the GPP trend, the upside trend before everyone else does. And so Van Jefferson at 3,900, Traquan Smith 3,900, Laviska 4,700. I mean, these are the other options. So Josh Reynolds at 3,000. He's just so cheap compared to those guys. If he can see 5 targets, I think he'll be able to be in your GPP lineup, and you'll be able to win first place, even in the Millie Maker. All right, for tight ends, very messy. This was a bit difficult for me. The tight ends was the most difficult. So kind of the elite options, or maybe slightly under the radar, but elite. I'm not even going to say under the radar, actually, but just guys that might be a little overlooked is Dallas Goedert. I'm sensing a little bit of disappointment when I hop on Twitter. I'm fortunate enough to talk to a lot of people. A little bit of disappointment with Dallas Goedert. But, hey, this is his first game back. Let's see how he does. He's going to be a huge part of this offense, by the way. No Miles Sanders, no Zach Ertz. I mean, that's a lot, right? It's got to go up. His usage, his targets, it's got to go up. So, yeah, Dallas Goedert 4,700 going against the Lions. Maybe a little overlooked. And then Gronkowski. Now, this guy is not, shouldn't be overlooked. He's a huge name and everything. But because he does have a questionable tag, he is expected to play, and he's missed several weeks, could be slightly overlooked. And the price is not too bad, 4,600. And Antonio Brown has already been ruled out. Now, here's a unsexy name, one that I like quite a bit. And with Austin Eckler questionable, this can only help Jared Cook, I guess, in theory. In theory, he'll get more targets. Might not help him at all, but Austin Eckler is questionable. Price is amazing. His quarterback, the guy throwing to him, is amazing, Justin Herbert. The matchup seems bad, but it's just okay. It's medium. It's average. Okay, so don't think, going up against the Patriots, you see that number 2. Oh, Patriots are gonna shut him down. No, they're not gonna shut him. I mean, they could, but I'm just saying that it's not what it seems. It seems like they're the best team against tight ends. They're gonna shut him down. You can't just go by this number here. It says they're ranked second. They defend the tight end so well, the second best. You can't go by that. The price is right. The matchup isn't as bad as it looks. Ownership will be down. Jared Cook, not a big, sexy name. So I do like him. I think this is a great value pick, and you could go for him. Put him in your tournaments and GPPs. Another guy, one that I was a little hesitant to recommend, but this is going to be my punt. Was it 600 cheaper than Jared Cook? We have Ross Dwelly. Now, out of the 2 tight ends, Charlie Warner versus Ross Dwelly, I think Dwelly's a little bit more of a receiver guy. He's going to be split out a little bit more, lined up in the slot. And at 2,800, this is nothing more than a punt. I do like him. Don't love him. I do like him. And if you're doing multi-entries, and hey, I want a punt tight end, this is your guy. Ross Dwelly. George Kittle's going to miss one more game. Hopefully he'll be back. I'm a Niner fan. But he's not playing this game. Kittle's not playing this game. So going against the Bears, another one that seems like a pretty bad matchup, but at this price, doesn't matter. And you know what? Quite frankly, I look at other stats and who's the defensive players and the game script. This is not a great indication when they say this opponent rank right here is not a good stat to go off of when you're looking at tight end so much. Okay, for the other positions, it's It's a pretty good stat to go off of, pretty good ranking to go off of for tight ends. I pay it very little attention. I look at it, but pay it very little attention, right? It's like what they say they're the best at the tight end, but if they're going against teams that don't throw to the tight end, then that stat is tremendously skewed. So I don't look at it too much. Don't put too much weight into it. For defenses, unfortunately, the Rams probably won't reach value at 5,100 because I have another defense I like, the Bears. I don't love, but I like. At priced half, right? Half the price. So if the Bears scored 10 and the Rams scored 20, it's about the same, right? So they're unfortunately not going to reach value. I'm not saying don't pick them. All I'm saying is the price is just a little higher than I'd like. 4,700. I think this is a no-brainer pick, but at 5,100, I'm going to have to change it up. I might pick, if I'm doing 10 lineups, I might pick the Rams in 2 of them because the price is so high. Other defenses to consider, Bengals at 3,600 going against the Jets. Now, that's a cheap defense right there. As you can see, you're going to save so much more. What is that? 1,500 cheaper than the Rams. My favorite's going to be the Niners at 4,500 going against Justin Fields, Matt Nagy, Allen Robinson, these guys that just put up negative numbers. Nick Bosa's still playing. So anything can happen, right? 3,500 is super cheap. I think this defense has the most upside, other than the Rams, of course. It's a super cheap price. Right. And, if the Rams get 15 and the Niners get 10, that's pretty good. That's going to be around the same value just to compare. All right. So, So the Bills D, excellent defense, super cheap. I think these guys have a high floor. 3,300 going against the Dolphins. And we talked about the Bears briefly. Don't love them, but they should be a top 10 defense, and they are super cheap. They're missing a lot of players. Akeem Hicks, I don't know if he's going to play or not. I think he's still questionable. Khalil Mack is out. Akeem Hicks actually probably even bigger piece of this puzzle for the defense. Is a more important player than Khalil Mack. But we'll see. Really anything can happen with defenses. A little bit of a crapshoot with defenses. But my punt is going to be the Jaguars going against Geno Smith. I think it's a very underrated defense. Not as a unit, just to pick this week. At 2,400, they're going to be my defensive punt. I don't think it's that bad. I mean, they're rested up. They're good to go. They're playing against Geno Smith. It's definitely a punt, though. That is definitely how I'm labeling these guys. All right, guys, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel and subscribe to our second YouTube channel. That's right. We have another channel. It's called Fantasy Couch Podcast. Really, really good content there. So subscribe to that one as well. Smash the thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thumbs down if you didn't. I read every single comment, so hit it up, and I'll get to your fantasy questions as soon as I can. Let's go get that W. Let's finish in the green. Let's go, baby.